Hello and welcome to the world-famous and award-winning Driving You Crazy podcast. This is the show where we talk about all things transportation, anything that gets you from here to there. I am the traffic anchor and the transportation reporter for Denver 7 News, Jason Luber. If you would like to be a part of the show, you can always give me a call on listener hotline, the number 303-832-0217. So this is the part where I usually roll right into the introduction of my guest. And I will get to my guest in a moment, but I first must explain something. The start of my conversation with Ron Meloncon started off bad. He couldn't hear me. I had to reset the Zoom connection. Then there was this really strange, where I've never seen before, lag in the video, lag time. I've only seen it with satellite interviews from overseas. This was not the case. He was in Virginia. I'm in Colorado. It started the conversation off poorly. And so when I started the conversation, I knew there was going to be a delay, but it was worse than expected. And in a traditional TV or radio interview, let's say you're doing it live with a satellite delay, you give a question, and you know there's going to be a delay, so you wait 3 or 4 seconds, and then here comes the answer. And since that type of interview really isn't a back and forth, the delay really isn't too terrible, and I think viewers or listeners understand what the situation is and can get over it, right? But in this situation, it was an issue, and I think I was losing the start of Ron's answers, even though listening back to it, it really wasn't bad. I wasn't losing a lot of stuff. I couldn't really jump in, though, and in a conversation, you sometimes have to jump in, and I knew I was going to have to. And so after a couple of questions on the Zoom call, I just knew it wasn't going to work out on that format. So I stopped down. I told Ron that I'm going to do the rest of the interview on the phone. Okay, fine. That worked well. No delay, good reception. And then, as you will hear, his connection drops out in the middle of an answer. And I left all this in that you can hear in the episode here. You're going to hear me call Ron and then call him back and get started again. And after that interruption, the rest of the conversation actually technically went just fine. I did have a few reservations about some of the information Ron was telling me, and I challenged him on some of that, and he cited some sources that you can get from his website, and that link is in the description of this show. He also has been sending me constantly nonstop stuff on my Twitter messaging, all this kind of stuff. And so I can see his zeal and his passion. It does, and you'll hear me ask him this, comes up to the point of basically annoyance. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that he's firing off at me. So when you listen to this episode, the first part of the interview on Zoom is edited a slight bit. So you don't have to suffer through that delay and the connection issues that we have. I don't like to really edit these long-form interviews for content because I want you to hear what the guest has to say in their own words and not take anything out of context. I think that's really important for what I'm doing here. And because really it's not my role to change what people say and how they say it. It's really to present an issue, discuss it, and so that is my preamble to what happened during this episode, which was very unique in a lot of ways. But I think the first part of the interview is still really good. It's listenable, it's airable, and then the rest of it is great as well after I called Ron back, and it's all solid from a technical standpoint after that. So, now all that being said, the other day I was looking at some very old emails. See, my station has a 2-year expiration date on our emails, so the ones I don't immediately archive just sit there until I remember to look back at them. And I just looked back and saw a voicemail that I had totally forgotten about. The voicemail was from my next guest, Ron Meloncon, who was responding to a story I did on TV where I answered this question from Charlie, who lives in Longmont, Colorado. Charlie wrote to me saying, "What's driving you crazy? Recap tire treads coming off of big rig trailers. They cause damage to other vehicles and crashes. They have steel cord running through them. Very dangerous. Buy new tires." Well, I answered Charlie's question on air and here on this podcast in episode 170. And that is when Ron left me a voicemail that I am now just getting back to. So, with all of that said, let me welcome the founder of DangerousTrailers.org, said to be the only national safety organization that is devoted solely to preventing injuries and death to children, women, and men from passenger vehicles towing trailers that has been historically ignored by the federal government and state governments. Ron, thanks so much for being here on the world-famous Driving You Crazy podcast.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, first of all, I'm sorry for my late reply.
Apology accepted.
And I know you are very passionate about this topic, as you have sent me loads and loads of messages and a lot of good material since I booked you to come on today. And as I understand it, you started DangerousTrailers.org and your advocacy group here over 20 years ago. So what was that spark? What was that incident that made you feel like you had to do something about trailers and why and how they are so dangerous?
I was fresh coming off of getting legislation passed because about 80% of these trailers don't have working taillights. So in Virginia, because I came from the Amish country up in the Catskills, I got a law passed that requires trailers in Virginia to have reflective tape because they're black and they're hard to see. So this issue was already on the table. So right to your question, I witnessed a woman getting killed in 2004 when a homemade trailer came detached and simply took her out. And I said to myself, why are people towing trailers that are homemade? It doesn't make any sense. And I couldn't believe that there was no one else in the whole country dedicated to why this is happening. So unlike letting it slide or ignoring it, I decided to address the situation. And it's been a struggle, and it's been enlightening ever since.
That homemade trailer that you talked about, was it defective in the way the person made it? People can make things, and they can make trailers, like you said, but they can make them safely. So how did this person make that trailer dangerous?
Great. I've got the VCU crash team. Virginia Commonwealth University has a college course on reconstructing accidents. I wanted to get an independent person to determine exactly what it is. And what is startling is there is no code for any construction or any specifications for any trailer in the entire country 1 pound under 3,000 pounds.
So again, how did this trailer that was made, how was it made in a way that made it dangerous?
Absolutely. The safety chains were not adequate. The safety chains were connected with a caliper pin that wasn't even rated for testing. The ball was a wrong size ball, wrong size hitch, and there's no training. And the trailer was had ball tires, and there's a picture of it on the report that you can see if anyone should ever ask for it.
I'm speaking with Ron Meloncon, founder of DangerousTrailers.org, and we're talking about the dangers of passenger trailers. When you're talking about your advocacy of these dangerous trailers, we're talking about all kinds of trailers, right? Not just the ones like the one that you saw kill the person, but we're talking about landscaping trailers and boat trailers and camper trailers and animal trailers and maybe even the semi-trailers, the big 18-wheeler trailers, right?
Well, the semi-trailers, there is federal oversight on any trailer over 3,000 pounds. So the loophole and the lack of understanding are trailers that people tow. So I focus on passenger vehicles that are towing vehicles, trailers, including horse trailers. So in addition to my numbers, about 1,500 horses are killed a year now by a person towing a horse trailer.
I want to go back to the crash that you witnessed. Why don't you describe exactly what happened that day? Tell me what you saw, what transpired, and then what has happened since that crash.
Sure. I witnessed a trailer come off the hitch, fly across the roadway, which the crash team certified. It traveled almost 300 yards uncontrolled and went across the median and randomly hit a person who was wearing a seatbelt, who was doing nothing wrong, and took a life that was preventable. Now, going forward, I discovered that 8 states don't even have a safety chain law. I got one taken care of, but in 7 states, and I'm serious, you can tow a trailer with duct tape, and I'm serious, and not get stopped by a police officer.
That seems not plausible. I mean, it just it doesn't seem. What are those states?
Well, well, ready? Michigan. I would challenge your listeners. Go to Google and type in the word Dell's used duct tape. And your answer is Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. They do not, Oregon, they do not have nothing on the books that allows an officer to stop anyone for towing something that is not secured.
So what's the root cause of these dangerous trailers then? Is it something about how these people are making the trailers? Is it trailers that have already been pre-manufactured by maybe a more reputable person than just your neighbor across the street? Is it the hitch? Is it the ball? Is it the tires, the drivers, the connection between the tow vehicle and the trailer, a combination
Correct.
of all the above?
There's so many things that because of my efforts, Costco will not install a car tire on a trailer. There are Pacific tires. That's why I called you about these blowouts. People can go to the junkyard and put a regular tire on a trailer. That is wrong. You need a ST rated tire. People can go to Lowe's and buy dog chain and think that's a safety chain. It is not a rated chain. It has not been tested for tensile strength. So there's so many issues. But going back, and I have documents for this. In 1966, J. Stanley Baker, the father of highway safety, back then the people with hitches was 5% of the population. He determined that if you tow anything back in 1966, you were 10 times more likely to have an accident. And then he notified that in driver manuals, where they were just beginning to develop them, there is nothing in the manual on how to tow a trailer.
Interesting. Yeah, you know what, Ron? And I think there's some kind of a lag on the stream here that is rather distracting. So I think is it okay if I call you and I think we could just do it audio from here on out because the delay I think is challenging,
sure,
making the conversation challenging. I'll call you right back.
Hello, Jason.
All right, I think this is going to work out a lot better. That delay was something fierce. And I want to reset for the audience. My guest is Ron Meloncon. He's the founder of DangerousTrailers.org. That's where you can find them on the web. And we're talking about the dangers of passenger trailers and other trailers and all kinds of trailers and why they're dangerous. So, and I think we talked a little bit about this, but does it come down to somebody who has already purchased a manufactured trailer and just doesn't know how to use it? Or is it more dangerous when you have the person who creates their own trailer and does or doesn't know how to use it?
And great point. A combination of both, because even the manufactured trailers, you have different variations of quality. The worst trailer in the marketplace is carry-on trailers. They are making the cheapest quality. It's like buying a Yugo. Okay, there's different car qualities as in different quality of trailers. And that company challenged my build in Virginia because they didn't want to spend $8 to put reflective tape on back of a black trailer that you don't have working lights most of the time. Then you have people who are building them homemade. Would anyone there put a baby of theirs into a homemade car seat?
Probably not.
Then why are you towing a trailer that you built?
Yeah.
That no one independently, I don't care who you are, you can't build your house and get a certificate of occupancy without some inspector making sure the process of your home was built correctly. And there lies a problem. So you might have, not everyone is a trailer builder. So when you see one, like a pickup truck cut in half, that is a homemade trailer. So my point to government officials, you go after 19 people were killed by defective Takata airbags, and it's an 85 million recall. I have hitches failing and safety chains breaking by manufacturers and there's nothing done.
You also have a section on your website, dangeroustrailers.org, about U-Haul trailers. I think most of us have had experience with a U-Haul trailer. If we haven't rented one, we've probably been in a car with a friend or a relative who have rented one to move somewhere. Now, those trailers have printed on them speed limits for safety reasons, but we've all seen drivers ignore those recommended speed limits and load them improperly, and the result can be a wavy trailer. So what do you think about the U-Haul trailer and having people show up to a U-Haul center with probably no experience? I know I could walk into a U-Haul trailer center right now and get one of those 18-foot trucks without any driving experience in one of those trucks.
And excellent question. Great segue. U-Haul is the monster. In 1972, I have a document. The Institute of Highway Safety got all stakeholders. They recognized that this issue was going to happen and was happening. They wanted a national standard that we can all agree on towing trailers. U-Haul said this quote, "If people knew how dangerous it was to tow a trailer, they wouldn't rent trailers."
Then why are we allowed to rent them?
Because it's all about money. Now, one time, the speed limit was 45 miles an hour. The sticker said 45. I have older ones that have not been, okay. They lobbied to go to 55. Now, what your consumers don't know this is because when they sign the contract that no one reads, if U-Haul finds you going faster than 55 and you have an accident, you're done for.
And what do you mean when you're done for? Does that mean they just won't cover, the insurance won't cover it, or your personal insurance has to cover it?
You're right. If a good lawyer wants to go after everything you have personally, your assets, your home, you are pretty much finished.
Because one of those issues you brought up is that people who do use their vehicle, their personal vehicle, to tow a trailer, any kind of trailer, let's say a landscaping company that has a truck and they have a trailer they use all the time. They don't have any more insurance coverage than anyone else does that's on the road. Should that be changed?
Yes, I think there should be. Now, ready for this? People don't know this. If you read your policy, State Farm is the worst company. They have argued in testimony that they were not liable because if your trailer becomes separated from the car, you have no insurance. You need to get a separate liability policy for the trailer in order to protect you. So the standard auto policy in the documents, if you read it carefully, in order for coverage to work, your vehicle must stay attached to the trailer in order for the coverage to work officially. If your trailer should come off the hitch and hit a school bus, you're pretty much exposed.
But they would cover it if my trailer stayed on the car, and let's say my trailer was overloaded, whatever, or flips over. Let's say part of it breaks, the axle breaks off, and then it causes a crash. Then I would be covered.
I have insurance companies who are submitting fake. I have an insurance company called the Cincinnati Insurance Group. They submitted a fake hitch in order to not get liable for it. So I have issues with those kind of things because insurance companies will do what they can not to pay a claim. So it's all about the claims adjuster. It's all about the state statutes, and the consumer. There should be, to answer your question, I believe because the auto policy has not been updated. If you don't tow nothing, your rates should be cheaper. But because of the insurance companies, I am covering people who are not securing their loads. I'm covering people who are towing homemade trailers. I'm covering people who don't attach their safety chains. In addition to this, I'm covering people who drag their safety chains, and over 40%, and I'm going to tell you this right now, over 40% of the wildfires is caused by people who are towing a trailer and they're dragging their safety chains, which causes sparks on the road, which then causes wildfires.
Where do you get that stat?
Okay, it's my stat because if you go to Google, I'm going to give you the stat. Are you aware the woman was towing a camping trailer? It was a double axle trailer. The tire blew out because it was not an ST rated tire. She ran on her rim for 5 miles. Her actions helped kill 8 people and destroy over 3,000 homes in California. Have you heard anything from government about how to tow a trailer and not causing wildfires?
No, 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 not really, because out here in the West, we hear most of the wildfires are started by lightning, and there are
No,
some
they're not.
human caused, but most of them are started by lightning.
Okay, no, they're not. They're caused by on the roadsides. You just have one in
But you
Colorado.
but you might have to qualify that, because on the roadsides, because we have one right now burning just north of me that was
Mhm.
definitely not started by a trailer, because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, that's fine. That's a different story. But on the roadside fires, over 40% of all wildfires on the roads are caused, which then spread to other people's homes and so on, and property,
Yeah.
are caused by people. I have a picture for you. If you simply go to dangerous trailers, dragging safety chains. I got a person starting 18 wildfires from the air. The police officer was terminated for sending me the picture
Why would he be terminated for sending you a picture?
because it's out of their norm. They get reassigned. I have, in other words, the industry is so powerful in Washington, D.C. They understand where I'm coming from. They're afraid of me, basically. And they are doing everything they can to keep the status quo and keep on doing NDAs. Just like the Remington gun issue with the defective trigger switch. So my issue is we never had a good discussion and a sit-down discussion, and we come up with a reasonable towing endorsement. And I think that everyone should have basics and learn how to tow a trailer before they are able to.
My guest is Ron Meloncon. He's the founder of DangerousTrailers.org. We're talking about the dangers of passenger trailers and some of the issues around these passenger trailers. You mentioned that there are people, there's a lobby of some sort. What is the trailer lobby or other group that is fighting against you and fighting for trailer rights, if you will?
Sure. The NATM, the National Association of Trailer Manufacturers, they're the ones. They know this. I have a document that they produced. Why aren't they helping me addressing why 14 states don't register trailers? When they're stolen, how you find it, there is no database. I have a document from them that indicates that there's no safety chain law at the time in 8 states. Why haven't they lobbied to make that happen?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. Because I did get it passed. Type in dangerous trailers, Georgia, House Bill 123. It is now a misdemeanor in Georgia if you tow a trailer with no safety chains. And that's pretty good. So where is the help? So I'm not looking to shut down your freedoms. And you might say, we are getting overly burdensome regulations. The farmers keep on saying those key words, overly burdensome regulations. I'm going to give you a link that I want you and your listeners to type it in Google. And I want you to do it. And I'm going to get you right now. Type in a careless and repugnant man, white mom and dad from the face of the planet. You had a farmer who killed 2 people, and all he gets is 2 weeks in jail?
Describe that story. What happened?
Again, he had no safety chains on his trailer, killing 2 people.
So it sounds more like there's a issue that you have with people not operating the trailers correctly and having the safety chains on there, or having the ball on correctly and have it latched correctly, compared to the overall structure of the trailer is defective.
Correct. That's the main point, is the preventing of a trailer coming off a hitch. There's people out there in groups who tell you, and the fire departments, who help you install a car seat for a kid, right?
Sure.
Who helps anybody on how to hitch a trailer?
Maybe U-Haul, if you go to a U-Haul.
Not really, because they're understaffed and they don't have the training that they should have. It's all about production, basically. You have independent contractors who are U-Haul rental places that don't even know what they're doing, basically.
You said that we should have, like, I have a motorcycle endorsement to ride my motorcycle.
Correct.
So what would it entail to get a towing endorsement? What do you see that process looking like?
Okay, and I have England. I have a lawmaker in England who became lawmaker of the year because in England over 400 people were killed by the same issue, and I have documents and data to prove my information correctly, and they're working on having a towing endorsement under their policies. I'm sorry, their driver's policies in order to tow a trailer. She spoke to the House of Commons, and the Queen of England. I helped coax her, and her name is Karen Smythe. If you type in dangerous trailers, Karen Smythe, and I have a video of her a month and a half ago speaking to the House of Parliament about getting more action on this issue. So if I'm getting coverage in England, and England is working on this problem, why
Yeah.
isn't America
Well, the Queen of England
working
doesn't
on
do
it
any
too?
policy. The Queen of England is just basically head of
And that's
state, and
the
that's it.
question I
Yeah.
ask. So why should a person from Colorado go into South Carolina or Oregon and get hit?
Hello, Ron. Ron. Well, I think I lost him again. Let me. All right, let's dial him up.
My God, I'm back.
There must be a conspiracy of some sort.
I'm sorry.
It's
So where did we get cut off?
you were talking about, because I asked you, I said that the Queen of England actually doesn't do any policy, and you were talking about why would somebody from South Carolina or Colorado who gets hit, and that's where it dropped out.
Got you. So a person, if you're traveling to another state, we should have uniformity. A car in Colorado is a car in California. When you go across state lines, there is no uniformity on trailers. And that's the problem. So you have states that don't even register trailers. I have 9 people that we know of who were killed by loose trailers, and no one knows who killed them because they weren't registered.
There had to be somebody that came forward. Let's say your trailer came off your vehicle. And
Right.
in that situation, you're probably going to be looking for your trailer because you were, whatever you're hauling or that trailer, it has value to you. You maybe don't know that it just killed somebody or was caused a wreck. Yes, people run away from wrecks all the time, but don't you think that somebody would have seen the trailer come off of that vehicle, or at least the person that had the trailer would have gone looking for it initially?
I got people who don't. There's like I said to you, there are 3 people who have been killed in the past 3 weeks that I can prove to you right now. One in South Dakota. If you go to Google again, type in grandmother killed, South Dakota, loose boat trailer. And I'm fighting with the police departments to give me, my point to you is, if a door came off a Boeing Max 737, we found out how it happened. It is so difficult to find out the answer. Where is the commonality? Where is the issue? Why did the trailer come off the hitch?
Well, if it's just incompetence, then that's probably your answer. It might not be any more complicated than that.
But yet, okay, so incompetence. Who trained you on how to tow a trailer?
Well, that's part of the incompetence.
Right. And so why don't we have a unified statement that we all come together and develop a national towing standard that are in your DMV manual? Because every car now pretty much comes with a hitch.
My guest is Ron Meloncon. He's the founder of the website called DangerousTrailers.org, and we are talking about the dangers of passenger trailers, especially as it revolves around how people hook them up and safety chain them to their vehicle. So, as you're talking about government officials, have you contacted any of your local, your state? It sounds like you're in contact with some of them, and maybe even national representatives. And how have they been to deal with as you've been contacting them?
And here's the point. One former congressman told me, with the amounts of paperwork I get, you have to bubble to the surface. If you can't be here pretty much every day and lobby and are funded by somebody, And that's what's wrong in our country. If you have the money and you have the way to buy a person to lobby for your issue, whatever it might be, like for example, right now, there's a lobby group. It's called the Angel Wing. Here's the point: under 100 people are killed a year now when you hit a tractor trailer. So there are investors now who want to mandate. It's called the Angel Wing. They want to put an angel wing on every tractor trailer. You want to have food inflation? It's going to cost $5,000 to put on an angel guardrail on a tractor trailer to prevent you when you hit the truck. So my point is, if you hitting a truck is important to somebody, shouldn't a trailer coming off the hitch, you wearing a seatbelt in your own car, be even more important?
I would think that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration would be interested in this idea and your information. Have you contacted them?
I have. I spoke to the NTSB. I was in Washington, D.C. when the earthquake shook us. I spoke to Donald Corral. I got to the top of the ladder. And when I got done with my presentation, that's when the earthquake shook us. Ha! And I was promised feedback. I even was picked as a recipient for the J. Standard Baker Safety Award. I have a letter signed by my state senator. And they use this information basically against me because they find my weaknesses and they just suppress it. But don't you find it odd as a reporter, as a person who's interested in public safety? Why am I the only one talking about this and keeping track? So here's my numbers. Let me go back to what the issue is. In a traffic report, there's a box for hitting a deer. There's a box for hitting a domestic animal. There is nothing, no box for trailers. So last year, Governor Abbott signed Texas House Bill 1199 and Texas House Bill 1198. It passed. They're developing a new accident report to get better data because a doctor's wife was killed in Texas by a loose trailer. And not one single insurance company lobbied for that bills, which I did and took time off of my time, that Governor Abbott, a Republican, signed the bill.
Well, you're inferring that there is a conspiracy against you by the government because obviously you are passionate. You have what seems like relentless determination to get
Right.
your point across and to have people listen to you. But there's a
Right.
fine line, and I hope you would agree, between passion and annoyance. Do you
I
think
understand.
that your aggressive style has helped or hindered your efforts, especially when it comes to government officials?
Great question. In the beginning, they were nice and receptive, but maybe now with my because they don't listen to the whistleblowers. Time and time again, when I am openly telling what I'm supposed to as an EMT, former EMT, you go through chain of command. If chain of command doesn't want to listen to your concerns, then you try to go outside the box. I could be an annoyance, but I'm not the one who's killing other people. I'm the only one who's been trying to address the situation openly and fairly to find a common ground, including with parades. For example, you're from Colorado. You know that an officer's cop's leg was cut off on the Colorado parade, right, for the Nuggets?
Yeah, it was. Yes, that's right.
Okay, so I have a website called paradesafety.org. More kids have been killed by parades and hayrides than have ever been killed, for example, being left in a hot car. There is no parade safety standards.
And you mentioned that on your website,
Right.
with me personally, you share you detail the different kinds of trailers and these accidents and these injuries and fatalities, and
Mhm.
you have that section where you do talk about hayride accidents. I don't think anybody of us really thought about what's involved in a hayride. It really is just a trailer behind a tractor for the most part.
Perfect.
Would
Right.
you ever take a hayride?
Not after what I know now, because, and you're right, I would not take a hayride because if there is like a rail, there's not even, it's a hayride. You have amusement parks that have standards. If a farmer's having a hayride, shouldn't they have a standard that they must adhere to, because a consumer doesn't understand that you're not held to the same liability standards as a park?
My guest is Ron Meloncon. He's the founder of dangeroustrailers.org, as well as other websites that you can check out. We're talking about the dangers of trailers, passenger trailers, and other kinds of trailers. I know for me personally, I have a local, and you're in Virginia, and you have
Right.
a local House representative, a local state senator, and
Right.
what I'm sure you've talked to them, and probably over the last 20 years they have turned over in who has been your representative.
Perfect.
Have you had conversations with them?
I have. Congressman Cantor promised me help, and he got me to speak to the NTSB, and then he turned a blind eye after that conversation, and then I helped get him voted out of office. I got Dave Bratt and helped support him and get him into office. He did promise to help on his second term. If he got reelected, he was going to address this problem, and then he did not make his second term. Now I have Congressman Whitman. I have an audio tape 3 months ago acknowledging about stolen trailers because, for example, Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Oregon, there is no registration for trailers. There is no database. And I seem to, and every day now, thousands of trailers weekly are being stolen. And they can't find them because there's no way to locate them. And every time I get hope, I get phone calls. It always seems to not happen.
Another place I was thinking you could contact, and somebody I know locally here is
Mhm.
really big with advocating for what they think is traffic safety, is AAA, and they do a lot of work in this area. Maybe not specifically with people not hooking up their trailers properly, but with lobbying government and trying to make the road safer.
And they're so inundated with all their issues. I've been trying to get them to do the same thing. And I can't get understanding. I don't understand where is the disconnect with this situation.
So you say in your mission statement that yours is the only national safety organization devoted solely to preventing injuries from passenger vehicle towing trailers that has been historically ignored by the federal government and state governments. And that's what I
Right.
want to get to. Why then has the federal government and why has your state government or others you've contacted just totally ignored everything you're doing now to this point?
Sometimes it makes me wonder why. This is why our country is in this kind of situation. We don't fix things that are fixable.
So
Why
what
didn't the people? And your question is perfect. I just can't be up there in the faces. You have other people with other causes that are well funded who are getting the attention of our lawmakers. So our government is pretty much run by people who have the ability of occupying our lawmakers' times uh, to divert their attention to other things that they want to address.
and you talked about the fix. So what is the fix? Is it better manufacturing of the trailers? Is it better education about how to use them? Is it better maintenance or maintenance requirements by the people who use trailers? What is the best solution to this problem?
All of this, and having a person like a czar. I would love to be the czar of this issue, and where we all come to some kind of agreement that makes sense to everybody. Why can't we have a unified discussion? Why is only you and I and your listeners now being addressed this problem? And that's the point. I'm not looking, I would love to be able to support the cause, bring my knowledge and my documents and my acts and reports to anyone who ever questions anything, and at least find a common ground. We're not unified anymore. We've become a country where we we are so inundated with so many different things and nothing's being solved.
I don't know if you're aware of a guy named Dan O'Dowd. who is a billionaire who has really come out and spent a lot of his own money saying that. And I interviewed him a while back, talking about Teslas and how their autopilot feature, their self-driving feature, is very dangerous, and he is advocating against anybody being able to use the Tesla self-driving feature. Have you looked at partnering with somebody with some money, some legs like that could help get your message across a little bit better?
Excellent. I wasn't aware of that person. I would definitely like to get information on how to find that person and get in contact with him.
Yeah, his name is Dan O'Dowd. And yeah, he has been very anti-Tesla. He actually owns a Tesla, so he's not anti-car. He's anti the software that controls the car driving in self-driving mode.
I got you.
Yeah, but have you looked at any other private people that might help you carry the ball across the finish line?
And the people who are want to help are getting paid NDAs. Did you know that the Hills Brothers Coffee? Her name was Erica Hills. Type in Erica Hills, the wife of a coffee billionaire. She was killed in Napa Valley in California by a loose trailer, and he can't even talk to me because he signed an NDA.
Why would somebody sign? What did the NDA say? I mean, what was it preventing? By whom, for whom?
Go ahead. Well, it does prevent them from getting involved, including the Bay Bridge. It took me, like I said, 2 years to get the Bay Bridge accident. There was a homemade trailer that came unhitched on the Maryland Bay Bridge. I have every picture. I have every document. It was a State Farm insured customer. I have a narrative from the investigating reporter, which I'll send to you. In one day, 3 people were killed by a homemade trailer that came detached. And it's very specific on the document. The lawyers sued for $15 million. 2 wives and 2 families. You would think they would be the champions to help be behind having this issue be addressed. The lawyers were offered a undisclosed sum of money, and they were
by whom?
Offered them an NDA.
By whom? Who gave the lawyers?
By the Maryland Transportation Authority.
So you say the Maryland Transportation Authority, the state government in Maryland,
yes,
paid off lawyers so they don't have to worry about people making trailers?
No. In other words, they don't have to, address why the trailer came off the hitch or having a spokesperson.
I can't imagine anybody doing that.
Well, I have it right here. Why? Don't you find it odd that none of the family members are champion for this?
Have you called any of the family members?
Not me personally, but I had a person who has a better hitch system, and they know his name, who has been trying to show the government that there is better technology out there to avoid these kind of problems. And they said that the attorney, which I'll give you the names, I have the paperwork, they have not spoken about this ever since.
So the lawyers for these families who were killed sued the person presumably who owned the trailer, who created the trailer, and the insurance company State Farm.
Right.
And so the lawyers, they probably, did they go to trial or did they make a settlement?
I can't even give you that answer. As far as I can tell, it never went to trial.
Well, then there should be there should be a public record of what happened in that trial. It's all open to the public.
Correct, and I can't seem to find it. I mean, I only have so many resources. When I'm using my own funds to help uncover this problem, expecting help, I don't have an infinite amount of sums to continue.
But then, how did you find out that somebody then from the state of Maryland paid these lawyers to then not talk about it? Because that sounds like more like a settlement than somebody going to court.
Because at the time, I was able to devote more energy into more investigation work. And I've spoken to the attorneys, and they won't give me answers.
When it comes to semi-trailers, most are not equipped with most of them are equipped with what's called a retread, a tire that has a new tread. It has the same body, but it's created with a new tread that goes around that same body of the tire, and they're used because they're less expensive than new tires. Do you believe
Right.
it is worth the added cost that would be passed on to the entire load of that trailer for all trailers to be equipped with new tires and not retreads?
I believe so because they're all over the highway. They're always all over the place. They're mess. They're tire fragments all over the place on the roads, and they're littering and causing other people to avoid these, which then causes accidents. I believe, including wheel offs, including Goodyear, and this to show you if you're thinking that I'm out there, I'm going to give you and your listeners. I spoke to the State Supreme Court of Arizona because Goodyear tire is worse than Boeing. I have undefinitive proof that they pay people NDAs about their defective Goodyear tire on RVs.
All right,
It's
let's
called
let's go back to that. So you
yeah,
say there are people. So Goodyear tires
yes.
is paying who off?
Here we go. I'll give it a link. Type in dangerous trailers. Goodyear tire G159 Arizona.
So how many people have they paid off?
Over 100 people.
And you can document that people have been paid by Goodyear Tire. How much have they been paid?
I can't. I don't have the resource. I have court documents for you. That's on my website.
And then these people have been paid, and then they had to sign a non-disclosure agreement to not say anything about the tire was defective. Is that what you're
Correct.
saying? Why would
Absolutely,
anybody
including
do? How much money would it take for you to not say anything about Goodyear Tire?
I believe me. If I happened to my family, I would still fight for because people don't know about this.
But it
You
would be it's interesting to say that people are being paid, but why only in Arizona? Why wouldn't it be everywhere?
well, no, it was because they're based out of Arizona. It happened all across the country, but the court documents are based out of Arizona.
So these are
You have the
workers that
lawyers.
of Goodyear or people that have had
No, the
issues with the tire.
Goodyear, the Goodyear law firms. I mean, the Goodyear lawyers. They pleaded with the judge not to open the records.
Okay.
And this is what the judge said. He said, "quote The interest of public safety outweighs the benefit of an NDA." So he released the documents proving that Goodyear has paid people off. In fact, there's 5 different brands of RV tires that are blowing out, including.
So Goodyear Goodyear is admitting then that they are making a defective tire,
Well, they're trying to avoid it or being.
or maybe there was some other kind of a manufacturing defect that was just it just happened. It wasn't maybe a systemic problem that they know about, and they're trying to kill people who drive RVs.
There was a $30 million lawsuit in Danville, Virginia, that was settled because another Goodyear tire was defective. It was definitely part of the product issue.
So you wouldn't buy an
And
RV with Goodyear tires then?
correct. And I can send you the link.
Okay. What is currently the status of your mission? It sounds like your heart is still in this fight.
Of course I am. And I would just like to have support. If people deem I am worthy and I can finally fulfill my mission because it could happen to my family.
But I
And
had a driving instructor when I was 16 years old who wouldn't every time we would go by a semi, and she would always be leery of passing a semi and the trailer because she was under the impression that at any moment the tread the tire would burst and the alligator would come flying out and hit the windshield. It's happened to me in all of my years of driving, and I've drive a lot. All my years of driving, it's happened once where it happened in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so the likelihood of it happening, of a trailer tire blowing out like that is extremely low.
No, it's not. I have. It's called Killer Wheels. That if you go to Google, type in dangerous trailers, Killer Wheels. In 1993, the Senate of North Carolina compelled. I have a document. The NTSB studied. It's called wheel offs. Over 59,000 occur a year now. Okay, they got a study of why a trailer tire comes off a semi. Have you heard anything about this?
Well, I've seen trailer tread all over the place. I assumed that the trailer tire had worn out and the tread had come loose.
Would people accept it on a Boeing Max 737 if the door kept coming out and popping off? Would people accept that?
We accept people driving drunk all the time.
Right. But you have plenty of organizations who are addressing it. Who is the only person addressing people's trailers?
So where do you go from here? What's next?
You just keep up the fight. Be a resource for any people who want to know more. Hopefully come back and do another segment on your show about stolen trailers and my effort there, because every insurance company is culpable. I even got a police chief fired and indicted, and he signed an NDA because he stole almost 4,000 trailers in Georgia. Because
you
can change your VIN number. There's no data. In other words, when you put a VIN number in for a car, it tells you year, make, and model. You can put any VIN number you want into a policy, anything, for a trailer, and there's nothing comes back. So you can actually steal your own trailer, get the insurance money for it, and I'll give you the link there about that, and then you can get your trailer reborn again with a brand new VIN number. But in Virginia, it's called the Homemade Trailer Application, and it's called the VSA Form 22. You have people who are stealing their own trailers, getting the insurance money for it, and they're getting a brand new title by using a VSA Form 22.
Then how are they continuing to get insurance if they are making claims over and over and over again to defraud the insurance companies on their stolen trailer that they stole themselves?
There's no data.
But you still have a company that's in for a profit that knows that this person who is looking for a policy has had a trailer stolen multiple times. At that point, when you say, no, thank you, we don't want your business anymore.
Well, there's no help. It's all third party. Like, for example, with USAA Insurance, I am an AINS certified insurance agent. I am not going to falsify from a third party claims adjuster. And I'm a whistleblower. I have the definitive proof because I work from home. I'm telling you that they wanted me to change a VIN number. They charged $39 for a 6-month premium on a camping trailer. That's $14,000. So would you knowingly change a VIN number in order to match the police report, in order for the claims adjuster to pay $13,800? Would you do it?
But no, but I'm an honest person, and I still don't think that an insurance company, any insurance company, would pay more than one claim on a stolen trailer by the same person.
I have proof.
There'd be multiple. Are we talking like 20 or 30?
Well, go ahead and type in dangerous trailers. Stupid Progressive Insurance Company.
Well, I guess it's on them. I guess it's on them that they keep paying off somebody who has a trailer stolen that is fraudulent.
I have chat. I have chat for you that I can share with you. That in Virginia, people are encouraged to slap on a farm tag. If I steal your trailer and I put the farm tag on it, you don't have to get it registered. How do you know it's not stolen? I have people in the Texas bow hunter. I will send you chat from a Texas bow hunter. Every one of those people are telling each other how to steal a trailer.
Well, okay. It sounds interesting. It also, I think there has to be some vetting there too.
I understand. I'm ready to be vetted for you. You can vet me as much as you want. I'm ready. I am ready with documents, evidence, and whatever your listeners want from me. I'm ready for it.
What's the ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal is there should be a person, hopefully someone like me with a team, who finally addresses a passenger car towing a trailer and come up with some kind of unified standards that every state can adopt. If a certain state wants more, great, but there should be a base minimum that we all agree to. And we haven't done that yet.
All right, Ron. Well, it's been a fascinating conversation. I know we've been talking for a while now, so I appreciate your insight, your passion, and wish you the best of luck in your endeavors.
And any of you listeners want to vet me, I have documents to prove. I can send you whatever you want. I don't want to overdo it with you. I'm ready. I have my knowledge. I don't need a teleprompter to talk to people. I have it all in my head. I don't need a cheat sheet. I'm passionate. I shouldn't have to apologize for that. I shouldn't have to apologize for wanting to make a difference in America. And I shouldn't have to apologize for being a whistleblower who's ignored just like the people were in Pennsylvania. What do you want us to do when we are not getting anywhere anymore? So that's my niche. I want to fix it, and that's my mission.
Okay, excellent. Ron, thanks again so much for your time.
All right, thanks for your time.
Again, if you want to contact Ron, I put a link to his site in the description of the show. The website is dangeroustrailers.org. He mentioned several times that he had other websites as well and other links as well, so you can go back and find those. He also mentioned several times that homemade trailers are not regulated, and since I'm here in Colorado, I looked up what it takes to register a homemade trailer in my state. Now, when I did the Google search, the first county that popped up was Pitkin County, which is up in the mountains. It's the home of Aspen. And they define a homemade trailer as a trailer that is self-assembled and does not have a vehicle identification number and weighing less than 2,000 pounds. Now, in order to title and register the trailer, the owner of a homemade trailer must apply for a Colorado Trailer Identification Number. So the required documents includes a bill of sale for the essential material. So if you get it at Home Depot or Lowe's or you buy it on the internet, you have to show that you bought the materials. A statement of homemade trailer and assignment of a trailer ID number found on the Colorado Department of Motor Vehicle website. And it requires basic descriptions of the trailer, including the weight, the length, the width, the make. I guess if you home make it, it could be your name. And then other miscellaneous information, such as maybe the construction materials and number of axles it has. A completed Colorado certified VIN inspection, certification and equipment compliance for homemade and in lieu of bond trailers. A certified weight slip may be required, which can be obtained locally from Elam Construction, I guess up there in Pitkin County. Now, the fees, the registration fee varies depending on the value, and for the fee for the ID number is an additional $3.50. Now, the plates and registration are issued upon receipt of those required documents and payment of the fees. The state-issued title is processed and then sent to the Department of Revenue, who handles the Department of Motor Vehicles. And if the vehicle or if the trailer is over 2,000 pounds, bonding is required. So they have a special procedure for contact for doing that, and you can contact their office for more information. So I want to go back to the certification of equipment compliance for homemade and in lieu of bond trailers. It's form number D or letters DR and then number 2697. So DR 2697. And it says the following documents must be submitted with this completed form. A completed DR 2704, which is a Colorado certified VIN inspection, and a completed Colorado roadworthy trailer checklist by certified VIN inspector, where they will check for taillights, reflectors, stop lamps, the safety chains that Ron was really talking about, and make sure there's a place for a license plate. So right there, someone has to check the roadworthiness of the trailer. Now, you could still make one, hook it up, head out in the road and kill somebody, but legally, you're not supposed to do that. But again, legally, you're not supposed to go out and kill people too. Can someone just go ahead and hook it up and go? Sure, they can, but that's not the way they're supposed to do it. And there are tons of unregistered vehicles in this state. In every state, there is, I know there are in every state, people driving around without insurance and without driver's licenses and without registering their cars, and most likely without registering or titling their trailers. And maybe some are not roadworthy. I've seen the ones that are not roadworthy. Should somebody build a trailer and just start driving it? No, but it is possible. Now, that is just for the state of Colorado. But as you heard, there are states where you don't need a title for a trailer. In Florida, only trailers that weigh 2,000 pounds or more need a title. But all trailers in Florida have to have a current registration and license plate to be driven on their roads. Texas, home-assembled trailers that weigh more than 4,000 pounds need a title, but used trailers that weigh under 4,000 pounds only need a bill of sale and registration receipt. Kansas trailers generally need to be titled and registered, but farm trailers that haul 6,000 pounds or less of agricultural products are exempt. Wisconsin trailers that weigh less than 3,000 pounds combined with their load don't need to be registered, but all trailers should have a title. So you see the rules differ from state to state, whether it is titled or licensed or neither or both. And like Ron said, if I drive my Texas trailer to Colorado, there are requirements to get it checked and registered, but I'm sure people don't always do that. They will leave their Texas registration or license plate on the trailer and then drive as they will. I've seen that a lot with cars too. Because they come from a state that doesn't have as expensive registration as Colorado does, and so they either keep the registration in the other state or they just don't do the registration anymore because it's so expensive. And looking through the material from Ron, at least some of it, because there is a lot of material that Ron has been sending me, it appears that many of the tragedies and the fatalities have come from a trailer that wasn't hitched properly, didn't have the proper safety chains attached, and I would think that is where legislation could be enhanced in that exact scenario. Increase the fines and the penalties and insurance requirements if somebody is found not hooking up and safety chaining up their trailer. It seems like there should be or could be a legislator local that would take that ball and run with it. Like I told Ron, there's a fine line between passion and pain in the rear. And there are ways to come at an issue and lobby your local representatives without being a pain in the rear and having passion for your issue. That's why your representatives are there. To listen to your concerns, to consider acting on those concerns. Does it always work? No, it doesn't. But that is where you start. And as I tell my kids all the time, there is always more to the story. And that includes nearly every situation when someone is telling you a story. Even a family member telling you a story. There's usually more to that story. I have a feeling there's more to this story. And why Ron has not been taken more seriously than he wants to be. It's probably affecting why Ron hasn't been more successful in his advocacy and his website and all his efforts to try to get more awareness and maybe something done about these trailer issues. So there is always more to the story. Always. Anyway, thanks again for being here. Thanks for listening. And until next time, I'm Jason Luber, the traffic guy. Be safe, and as always, happy motoring.